not taking patients anymore, please try and speak to other people or speak to us within the council. And that's why the SCM team is there, the Stronger Communities team. Our job is to signpost. Our job is to show you, okay, if this GP is not taking on people, how can we help? You know, we can get in touch with people in public health and see if there are other GPs. The problem is the GP that we might send you to might be maybe out of your way, maybe not like the next street from you, but it might just be maybe in Aklam or Berwick Hills. But there's a possibility that when there is now space in the GP surgery closer to you, then you can then register yourself or your children. But your children, you and your children, not just your children, you and your children need to be registered with a GP and a dentist. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Part of the reason that, sorry, my name's Cull. I'm a resident of Middlesbrough. I've lived here all my life. I'm also a youth worker by trade. I'm actually a children's home manager, so don't think I'm here to take your children. I'm not, I promise you. I'm also somebody who works with Middlesbrough Football Club. I work with Cleveland Police as well. So there's a lot of things that I know, and probably a lot of things I don't know. But in terms of what you talked about, in terms of them coming to take your children off you if you're not registered with a doctor or things like that, it's not so much that they're going to take your children off you. It's one of the criteria that when social services are looking at how well your child is looked after, they will look at, is this child registered with a doctor? Is this child registered with a dentist? If both of those things are no, then it goes into the criteria that they're looking at. That's the reason that you think that's going to happen. It's not necessarily that it will happen. They want you to try and register. If you can actually show that you have tried and it hasn't worked, then they know that you're trying. They know that you're trying your hardest. So don't think that it's, well, I haven't been able to get a doctor, I haven't been able to get a dentist, they're going to take my child off me. That's not the case, okay? Try your hardest, and like they said, go to the council. If you're not able to, because there's waiting lists on doctors and dentists and things, and they close their list and things. So always try and go to the council to get as much support as you can. Even get them to put it in writing. This person has tried to get this and we're working with them. So just do that, okay? Sorry.
It's okay. Can I also add, if you can get hold of someone within the council, the children's school, go to the school office. They have a school nurse. Let them know that you're unable to register the children with a dentist or with a GP surgery. That way, the school knows that, oh, there has been, there's been a trial, effort to help to register the children with a GP. Even you as the parents, you know, because I think one of the things that has happened is there's been this creation of fear. You know, taking your children. And like you made mention of marks, you know, until there's an allegation, you know, and then there is now and then investigation around, okay, how did the marks come about? I think those are the things that social services, you know, children's services then look into. That's not my forte. You know, my forte is more community development, but I do know little things about it. But in terms of GP surgeries, dentists, you know, school, please speak to the school as well, the school office. Speak to the school office because the school has an assigned nurse usually. So when they know, then they can also put into writing, or maybe they can even make those contacts for you on your behalf. The thing is, always ask. Always ask questions, and please don't, I don't want to say live in ignorance, but don't be quiet, don't be silenced. There was another question around women, yeah. So within our team, we work with emerging communities, and majority of the times we see communities where the women necessarily are almost second-class citizens. And what we do within our team as the Stronger Communities team is we tend to empower the women that we work with. So like Ekanem said here, it's not a man's world, it's a human's world for everybody. So as part of the SCM team, one of the things that we do is we facilitate speaking to women, encouraging women, empowering women. And there are community organizations, just like the one that Pastor Femi is running here, giving opportunity to people to ask questions. And I think some of the times the things that happen is there is no place for you to go as a woman. I'll put it in terms of like the way you've asked the question, as a woman, to say, oh, how can I get this help? There is almost
Hello, 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 everyone. Okay. So can we just share and hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, good evening. Good evening, Ekanem. Are you there? Yeah, Sanya, can you hear me? Great. Yeah, good evening, Ekanem. Can you hear me? You can. Okay, welcome to Family Safety Summit, the continuation session of Family Safety Summit. And it's my pleasure to bring to you again the continuation of the wonderful session we had about 3 or 4 Saturdays ago with Africa safeguarding children. And we had a very wonderful discussion on various themes. We're looking at understanding the roles of children, the voice of children. We looked at understanding the voice of children, our children in the United Kingdom, the voice of women in United Kingdom. We also looked at the understanding privileges, opportunities, and so on and so forth, and boundaries here. And one other point that we looked at, but it was sure that we had a lot on our table on this day, and our dear super facilitator all the way from London could not cover all she needs to cover, all that is in her mind, the wealth of wisdom that she's got to share with us. So on that note, we decided to make sure that we promised you that we will continue this session online. And here we are today. So it's 8 o'clock already, and I will be expecting more people to join us as we take on this session this evening. I know our guest speaker is around the corner. She will join us very soon. But I would just want you all to share and tell others that this program has started. The program is also live on YouTube and also live on Facebook, on Titila FM King's page, and on King's TV on YouTube. So, but we have made it we want to make it a very interactive class where you can ask questions that bother you. And yeah, more people are coming in. Ask questions that bother you and what you want to know more about. So we would not, I would just give the next 5 minutes for us to share and share and share and share. And would encourage our facilitator to write down with the 10 of us, the 7-10 of us that might have been in the next 5 minutes. And others can join and ask questions. It's going to be a 1-hour session. Then we'll have another 30 minutes of a question for those of you that are here. And we would continue at another time this month. We had an audio that came on our group today on a very germane issue on these transgender issues happening in the United Kingdom. And it really broke my heart. I didn't know when I wrote on the church page, on my group page, that the child was being asked when a child was being asked what's our opinion. People are waiting in the...
Good evening.
Yeah, I can. I know you'll be around. Yeah, good evening.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've been struggling with trying to get my vocals
Not a
heard.
problem.
It wasn't coming through for some reason on my other one, although that seems to be live now. I'm not sure what's happening. That's why I've had to book in with two.
It's technology. It's technology, not a problem.
2 laptops in order to.
Not a problem. I guess this is going to give us your face, right? Yeah, you want to try your face on this? Let's see.
It may not. That's the problem I'm having at the moment. Let me just.
Yeah, but just take your time. We still have like we're going to wait for we're going to have like the next 5-6 minutes to prepare people, and I trust others are still going to join us. So at the moment we are like 10, 11, we go ahead with the session. So like I was saying, we had this audio today on our call, and talking about this transgender issue in one of the schools here in Wales. And the child was being asked our opinion about this transgender matter, gay, bisexual, and queer, and whatever. And the child promptly said, "This is what I feel. This is what my religion says." And what we heard now is that the child is going to be taken into isolation or into inclusion class for 2 days, just like something like to reorientate her. And I didn't, when I screamed that, no. This child was being asked, she was not going about abusing people. So I just want us to take the next few minutes to discuss our opinion here before I bring our speaker in. Okay, I just want to add another 7 minutes. By 8:15, I'm going to bring our speaker in, or you can just share and tell people that this session is on. This session is on. This session is on. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 4. I want to see your group bubbling, waking up your people, challenging your people. Tell them the session has started. That's how we have this group. So just wake up people in your group and let them know that this session has begun. But for those of us already online, let's use the next 10 minutes to give 1 minute opinion on this audio if you have heard it. If you have heard that audio, let me see your hands up. Let me see your hands up. You've listened to that audio. Let me see your hands up. It's very disheartening, very, very worrisome. I don't want to pin myself here. It's very, I feel really disturbed when I saw that today. Can you tell me that a child listened to something, and because of that, the child is now going to be taken into isolation or an inclusion class, or because she had her opinion. I don't know if you have listened to it, if you're in the church group and you have listened to it. But if you're not listening, let me just create it as a discussion then. A class was going on. I want to be sure that people are hearing me. So if you are in Sadebola, Mr. Dikite, let me know you are hearing me.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Good.
I can hear you, sir.
Good, please. Okay, so
I can hear you, sir.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Olalekan, good to see you. So, yes, I want us to discuss this in the next 5 minutes. You can unmute and let's discuss this. Then, Nigerian studio, it looks like my video is pinned, and I'm trying to unpin it so I can see others. I can see others that are here already. So can you help unpin? Can you help unpin?
Recording in progress.
Can you help unpin this for me so that I can see all the people? Oh. So Ekanem, are you good? Have you check your screen? Are you good?
I think so.
Will you be good? Will you be able to come on video? Have you checked that? You are not sure?
I think I should be able to. I've had to move into a different part of my house in order to do it. If I give me 2 seconds, let me see if I can reconfigure this. Oh dear. 1 second. Just give me 2 minutes.
Just take your time. Take your time. Take your time. It's technology, and it's one of those things that can happen. I myself think I pinned my video. So this is let's start that discussion. What do we do? How do we tell our children to react in such a place? The child was being asked in class, what is our opinion about this transgender matter? And the child now is now taken into inclusion class, and the mother fought it seriously. Yeah, can somebody give us a comment? What do we do? What do we do on that now if our children face such?
Okay, hello everyone.
Hello, Sion. Yes, over to you.
Okay, so I've not listened to the audio, but I think it's absolutely unfair for that child to be taken into inclusion because she gave her opinion. And what I would say to it is we should continue to train our children at home in the way of the Lord, because really what they're trying to do is absurd. And if this is the way they want to be going about it, wisdom is profitable to direct. If a child is asked what's your opinion, the child can decline to comment to avoid this kind of issue.
Okay. The child can decline to comment. So I don't know, because I really want this discussed. So now our children have been asked a question in class. They can no longer air their opinion. So are you saying the new norm as is going to silence our children from what they believe and from what they understand? What rules stops them from speaking? What rule stops them from speaking their opinion? What rule? What law? What law is that? Stops them from airing their opinion. So can I take another comment? Or how do you think we should handle this with our children? Who is talking, please? Good. Ekanem is ready for us.
Finally.
Yeah, just take your time. Take your time. Just take your time. Yeah. Good. So who is there again? Who wants to share? Before we now take it from Ekanem. Mommy Adebola, what are you saying on this?
Hello, Daddy.
Yes.
Actually, I am here with Mommy Odunayo, so we are really discussing it before we come out for conclusion. So just give us a minute.
Yeah, we might not have the time again. I'm going to pass it on to our facilitator very soon.
And we will conclude. We'll round it off at the end of the day then.
By that time, it will be what Ekanem is saying. So it will just be good to hear your own opinion directly, one by one. You don't need to.
Okay, before she comes up, then let me just add this. Left to me as a parent, I think I stand with the woman, because I would not, because I want my daughter or my son to have a Western education, compromise my faith. No, I will not allow it. I will stand by what I believe in, because when my child was entering the school, they asked for my faith and I wrote Christianity. And I'm so sure one of the reasons they admitted my child into the school is because it is a faith school and they know that I am in the same faith with that school. So the fact that probably the government or some teacher wants, or the curriculum is changing, I should now make sure that my son or my daughter changes with that. No. I have the privilege of being a Christian. If I were brought up in an Islamic way, I would have been given an Islamic background. And there are some things, there are some harams, there are some do's and don'ts in each religion. If I were in India, I would have been brought up in another way. So I don't think there should be a reason for them giving my daughter or my son inclusion because they wanted to teach me something or because they want me to include them. I'm not saying they're not going to be my daughter's friend or my son's friend, but they should not corrupt my daughter or my son's faith.
Corrupt.
Thank you.
Corrupt. Watch the word corrupt, because that was one of the languages. So we're going to put all this on Ekanem today, and it's all about safeguarding. Now, what they call safeguarding is when they think our children are at risk, or they're getting into trouble, what they call trouble and what they call risk. Don't you think we too have what we call trouble and risk from our own definition? Because our children imbibing the gay culture, imbibing the transgender culture might also be a risk to us. And we too also want to safeguard our children from that. Let me take one more comment. And Ekanem, you have the class, you have the your time to give us. You said we are understanding 6 areas of safeguarding. We cannot wait. More people are coming in. I know that one of the things we have about 10 or 15 people in choir rehearsals say they are just ending. So I know they will all join us. Hey, see my PA. Oluwa Folasha dia Didigba. Aya. My PA. God. That's beautiful. Okay, let's take one more comment. And I want to hand over to Ekanem. our children being asked to give their opinion in class, about transgender, gay, queer, being bisexual, and the children saying that my religion forbids it. I don't believe in it. And the child is going to be taken into inclusion. What is your opinion about this? I can just take one more opinion about this, and I want to hand over to Ekanem. The class is building up. Is one more person ready? Favor Leslie, I have not seen you since you arrived. It's not fair. This is admission to arrival. I have not seen you since you arrived.
Good evening, sir.
Favor, okay, come on video. Let me see your face. So, yeah, I'll report to you. Welcome. Oh, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good. Hope you are good.
Yes, I am.
Let's make sure we see very soon.
Okay, sir.
You didn't attend this program the upper week. What happened?
I was not aware.
Not a problem. We'll get to talk again. Thank you, Favor. Yes. Thank you. You can go. If you want to go off video now, you can go now, please. Okay. At this junction, I think my time is up, and I want to hand over to the powerful, energetic, fiery, cool and calm, ever dynamic.
Oh my goodness.
Ekanem.
This is too much. She
did something and she told me not to tell the world. Well, I'm about to tell the world. I want to disobey her. Now I want to tell you.
You cannot.
I will.
You cannot. We are in a session now. Let's get into the session.
Oh my God.
Very well.
She has told me. Okay, I hand over to her. Yeah, over to you, madam.
All right.
Good.
Welcome, everyone. It's so good to see. I think a few of you were there last time, and a few new people here. My name is Ekanem, and I work with an organization called Afruka, Safeguarding Children. I came along to your church in Middlesbrough, and I was very warmly welcomed by your pastor. And I'm just looking for him, actually.
He might be at work, but the wife is there.
He may be at work today.
But the wife is there.
Welcome anyway. But I have a champion on board anyway here in Middlesbrough with you. And I think there was a few people who showed some interest in becoming a champion. And like I said, if you do want to join us in what we're doing, please get in touch with Kayode Adegbe, and he will definitely put you through. But welcome. We started talking about the key safeguarding issues that our organization looks at, which are internet safety, county lines and drug trafficking, leaving children home alone, domestic violence, physical chastisement, and child sexual abuse. We started talking about them in little bits and pieces. And I know that many of you as well want to discuss the topic that your Pastor Femi raised earlier on. And I'm sure we will get to it towards the end. It is not something that I generally comment about, but I will make a slight comment here to assist you with how to handle it possibly within the school system and in this country. But because we don't have very long, I think we only have about an hour and maybe less than that now, I am going to quickly run through the various things that are relevant in each of these areas. It's important to note that what physical abuse is. And physical abuse, if you can remember the acronym I gave you, PENS, physical, emotional, neglect, and sexual abuse. These are the various things that fall into this area. And basically, physical, as you know, is when you're abusive physically, hitting, shaking, abusing the child that way. Emotional is when you're looking at the child and you make the child feel worthless. You verbally abuse them, you're always cursing them, and withholding love and affection from them. or neglect, which is basically where you're not providing them with the adequate means of their own survival, such as if they're sick, you're not taking them to the hospital. If they need food, you're not giving them the right type of food to eat. If they are cold, you're not giving them the right type of clothes to wear. So be aware that if you're sending your child to school in the dead of winter and he's wearing a summer coat or a summer dress and no socks on his feet and he's wearing sandals, that would be a cause for concern and safeguarding as to why is this child inadequately dressed to safeguard them from the weather that we have in this country. And I'm sure the reverse is also applicable. Then sexual abuse, and this is basically when the child is being forced to take part in sexual activities. I need not explain that to any of you. The worst being that they are having to do sexual intercourse or physical touching and such like. These things need to be, monitored, so to speak. So the process of protecting individual children identified as either suffering or likely to suffer from significant harm as a result of any of those abuses that I mentioned is that process. That is what we call child protection. And it basically, after the Victoria Climbié case, which I mentioned, experts decided that child protection processes were not adequate to ensure children's safety and well-being. And so therefore, several laws came into place, which I went through at the time: 1933 Act, 1989, 2000, which ended in the 2004 Act, which basically was there to safeguard the whole life of this child. So reminding you once again, significant harm, any form of abuse, neglect, accident or injury that is sufficiently serious to adversely affect the process of enjoying of life by that child. And harm is defined as the ill treatment or impairment of physical, psychological, and intellectual health and development of the child. The 2004 Act, which I mentioned, strengthened the notion of child protection to encompass a broad view on it, a wider concept of safeguarding the well-being of a child overall. So that's absolutely everything. Previously, we just looked at what do they physically need? What do they need to survive? But now we're looking to make sure that this child can holistically take care of itself when it grows up. It knows what it needs. It can actually flourish in the environment that it is. I want to quickly talk about one of the safeguarding points that I mentioned earlier on, and that is internet safety. What does that involve? Basically, from the very beginning, there's no age limit to children's access to the internet. Many parents themselves are not very savvy about the internet. If I was to ask any one of you now, well, most of you I think are in the area of about 30 and below.
Yeah, I guess that's a network. Okay, you back. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted, and your network just took you out the other time. Okay, you are muted. You are muted.
Was it only me that went?
Yeah, it was only you, and we needed
I'm
to
so
save.
sorry.
We needed
I
to
don't know
safeguard.
what's happening.
We needed to safeguard you.
Okay,
So
I will continue.
Yes, please.
I'll continue.
Yeah.
Okay. So to get onto the internet, you know how our children can get there very easily. They don't even need an internet, as in a computer. They can get onto it through their phones and all forms of media. It's important that we as parents know as much as possible about social media networks, such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Can anybody else shout out a few other ones that they know that their children are using? You have TikTok. What else? Anybody? Please, this is going to be very participatory. So shout out the answers. That's fine by me. Snapchat, thank you very much. That's another one. These are the ones that our children are using. And it's important for us to also understand the trends that are taking place in those internet areas, because they are influencing our children. I mean, I hate this word influencer because it reminds me of the influenza, something that people are catching. Even WhatsApp, thank you very much. Absolutely. They are using all these platforms and you need to stay one step, if not equal to them. If you don't know about it, play with your children in the sense of saying to them, come and tell me about this thing. I don't seem to understand it. I hear you can do this. I hear you can do that. It's a way of actually getting to know what your children know and learn in the process. So this is something that you can work over and communicate with them to deal with it and to hear more about what's going on with them. You need to keep your children safe on the internet, because if you don't, there are things that are happening there. A lot of our children are becoming over-sexualized on the internet. A lot of them are being groomed on the internet. Online pornography. We need to ensure that there isn't an exploitation taking place. So make sure that you have guards on your phone. I think I mentioned this last time, but I'm just kind of going through it now just to remind you. If you don't do that, you're going to see a lot of incidences happening with your children that you did not anticipate. So it's important to talk to your children, important to set boundaries, important that the computer and internet are within your view. So once you get home, those boundaries mean that maybe you set a record that by 8 o'clock or by 7 o'clock, all computers are off, or all phones are handed in and put in a basket and you keep it in your room. And then they're delivered back to the children the following morning, making sure that they don't have other phones as well. But it's important that you take some sort of control and say that the phone is not the only way of communication. Have moments where you just sit down as a family and talk, exchange views on certain things. Keep up to date with technology. It's really important. We went through some of the various apps that are available. And a lot of these apps that are now available are all designed towards grooming your children, meeting offline. There was a story of a young girl that was flown in from Canada to the UK. And her parents didn't even know she had got a passport and had left. So please, there are text acronyms that people are using, or the youngsters are using. 53X. Does anyone know what that means? KMS. Does anyone know what that means? I'm putting them out there, or if anyone knows any, put them in the chat. So let's see how much you know, and then we can add to them. There's a CD9. What does that mean? That means code 9, parents around. Now, why would your child need to put that into the chat that he's having with somebody if there isn't something that shouldn't be happening? WTTP, want to trade photos. What kind of photos are these? LMIRL, let's meet in real life. This is probably after, could be a day's conversation or more. But these are codes that you need to understand, or at least say, What does this mean? In fact, a lot of them are actually online, and you can actually just type in acronyms for used by teenagers on text, and you have so many. In fact, you probably be in such shock about what is out there. And a lot of them say CU46, which means see you for sex. So there are lots of things. Try and be aware. Don't be delusional about your kids and thinking, oh, they're just a child. They don't know. A lot of them know a lot more than you. It's like I was telling you guys that when I was younger, parents were asked whether they wanted their children to learn about, sex. And my parents said no. So they never, ever taught me about sex. However, I got to know about it. Where did I get to know about it? I got to know about it from another 5-year-old. Now, please tell me, what is a 5-year-old going to teach me? What is a 5-year-old going to teach me but his own lack of understanding of what he has just seen? And is that the control? Is that what you want your children to be learning and making mistakes with? Because it can only lead to mistakes. And it tells you that if you don't parent your child, somebody else is waiting out there to do it. So parents use parental controls on your children's laptops, telephones, everything. Ensure your child is aware of that not everyone who is talking to them is their friend. It's like I used to say that, we talk about Facebook and people think it's a set of friends. Who has 1 million friends and actually knows every single one? A friend in the old days was somebody you knew personally, you talked to every day, you met up occasionally or even more often. A friend is somebody who you meet through school, you get face to face and get to know them, see them, not the type that you're getting on Facebook. It is Facebook and nothing more than that. Know what to do if something goes wrong. That is really important. And be brave enough to do something, because very often we don't want to tell our story. We don't want to expose ourselves. We don't want our dirty linen out there. So we are afraid to say to somebody, see what happened to me, because we think that we're less than. No. Get the help that you need in order to save your child. One of the things I now want to talk about is county lines and trafficking. First of all, any questions about the internet safety from anybody? Feel free to ask questions even now so that I know whether you've got that. If not, I'm going to move on to what I call county lines, or what is called county lines. Does anyone know what county lines is? Just put up your hand or say type.
Are we sure we don't have any question on this now? Any question? Okay, no question. Let's go ahead.
Okay, we're moving on to county lines. Does anyone know what county lines means? What's the definition? Where have you heard it before, and in relation to what? Anyone? Anyone? We have a sleeping group, Pastor Femi. They're all sleeping behind. This is why I like to see faces, because then I know you're really with me. Can I request that everyone show their face? The brave ones, show your face.
Can I be an exception to this?
Hi, Temitayo. I knew
Hello,
you. Thank you. But come on, everybody else, wake up, wake up. Show your face and let's have a conversation. It's very difficult talking to pictures. But anyway, I will. Thank you so much, Shem. Thank you. Better. Oh my gosh, all these beauties are hiding behind these pictures. Thank you for being there. Okay,
I wanted to know that people are here. They are here. They're following. They are here.
Okay. Does any one of you know what county lines means? Just have a guess. We're here to learn. County lines, have you heard it before? Say yes, no, shake your head. Booga?
No.
Yes or no?
No.
Okay. When someone you trusted makes you commit a crime for their benefit, County lines is the term used when drug gangs from big cities expand their operation to smaller towns, often using violence to drive out small dealers, exploiting children and vulnerable people to sell drugs. These dealers will use dedicated phone lines known as deal lines to take orders for their drugs. And these deal lines are basically, you can buy your SIM card, put it into any phone, use it. And when they finish, they just throw it away so that they cannot be traced and they can just buy another one and use it. It doesn't cost anything to buy another SIM card to start again. A lot of them, they use children who they have groomed into this situation. If any of you were at the last session, you would have heard of me talking about something called chicken shops. Was anyone here in this group there when I was talking about chicken shops? Fantastic. So Sharon, please tell me what the chicken shop was. Tell me the story around that very quickly in a few words. You can do it. Take a guess.
Okay, so I remembered you mentioning it, but I'm trying to
get the story around it. Okay, no problem. I'll save you this time because you showed your face. Okay, so the chicken shop story is basically where in England, a lot of times there's a school, there's a chicken shop, and then there's maybe a church somewhere, but usually a chicken shop is very close to a school because the children will pile out of school at the end of the day, run into the chicken shop to buy chicken and chips, which they can pay £2 and get it, or £3 now. Inflation has come. So they get to buy these things very cheap, and the shop arranges it so just a small amount for that value. Now, very often, not every child can afford to spend, £3, £4 a day to buy this chicken, although it's really cheap by comparison to what it could be. And so you will find that there may be some people who will be hanging about, maybe young men, even young girls, hanging about, just surveying them to see which of them cannot afford. And so they might say, okay, I'm going to buy chicken for everybody, chicken and chips. So they will now buy chicken and chips for everybody. To them, it's no money at all because it's an investment in grooming a particular child. If you have done something for somebody, that person becomes grateful to you. Would you agree? And so as a result, one day now he might say, oh, I need something posted. Would you help me? And if I've helped you, Minister Isaiah, I have given you chips 2-3 times now. Will you not say, oh yeah, of course, Ike, what do you want me to do? No, be so. So I will, yeah. So then I give you this letter and send you on your way. You post it, you come back very happy because, hey, you've delivered it. You've done something for Ike, for her chicken and chips. And then another time, I say to you, Minister Isaiah, the way you delivered that letter was so good. Please, just do it again for me. But you don't know what I've put inside that letter. So you go. And because you're honest, you don't even look. But I've already arranged that 2 or 3 people will beat you up well, and take that letter from you. So, of course, that is what happens to you. Then when that happens now, the letter has gone, you haven't delivered it, and it's like, oh my God, I have to tell Ike I've lost the letter. So, of course, you come back to me, you tell me I've lost it. By that time, I'm not playing with you anymore. It's like, you did what? You lost my letter. Do you know what was inside that letter? There was £500 in that letter. Even maybe it was even 1,000. Any number I feel like it, I can say, did you check? So you don't know, and you can't fight me. I'm the adult, you're the child. So then I say to you, you say, what can I do? I can't give it back to you because I haven't got the money. Now you're afraid. So I say to you, I do like I'm very angry. Then the next minute I say, okay, you can help, but you have to run more errands for me. This is the time now the drugs come into it. So I will now give you a bag with drugs and send you to London, from Middlesbrough to London, to go and deliver something and come back. Maybe I'll send you to Manchester and come back. In the meantime, when you do those kind of things, I might give you £100 today, I might give you £50 tomorrow. So to me, that £50 and £100 is nothing because I know what I'm making on the drugs. But to you, it's like, what? £2 was hard for you before to buy your own chicken and chips. So when somebody gives you £50, you're like, yeah. And so what happens? You want to do it more and more. And of course, this is where your life is at risk, but you don't realize because other people are watching you. Where you're going to might be a safe house. Where you're going to might be a place where there are other drug addicts. So you're vulnerable to what could happen to you. An 11-year-old child one day woke up in one of those safe houses with his legs put apart because they were looking in every orifice to find drugs because they have to hide it on them at times. And this is not just something that happens to girls, to boys, it happens to girls. Sometimes sex is involved, sometimes so many things. So I'm just warning you to be attentive to your children. So in those days when you bring a pencil home and your parents will slap your teeth out of your head for bringing it home and say, don't you ever, 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 ever bring this pencil that I didn't give you into the house. Nowadays, you're hailed. Especially some single parents and they don't have money. So now money is coming into the house. Now food is arriving in the house and they're not saying, where did you get it? How did you get it? And their child is, especially when they're a boy, this is my husband, my big man in the house. No. Because the situation that child is in can cause you danger in due course. Because they can invade your home and make your home a safe house, and you won't be able to do anything about it, except for if you have the courage, reporting it to the police. And then the police may get involved. And this is where, when we talk about how expensive it is when a child goes into care, sometimes they have to actually uproot an entire family from their house. That means mother, father, children, from the house to another house in another part of the country in order to safeguard them. That costs money. That is quite a big weight to carry there. You know, so you should really be aware that this situation can cause your children to go missing from home because they're forced to sell these drugs. You should be able to check the pockets of your children. Do you see strange tickets going to other places that you never sent them? Ask the question, where have you been? Why did you go? Sometimes they say, oh yeah, I went off with a mate. We went to go and do this. We went out there, you know? Sometimes listen to their conversations where you say slang like, oh, we went out conch, which means that they went out of the area in which they lived and went out into the country or to another county. Yeah? So always be aware. Young people, they're offered food, expensive items to give them the taste of what they don't have in order to encourage them to be part of these gangs. Young people can be deceived into owing debt, which is what I mentioned to you before. And it's called a debt bondage, something that they never, ever really acquired. They may be forced to take part in criminal activity to pay off debt owed. They can, then, of course, as I said, it can involve sexual abuse alongside criminal exploitation. They can be forced to take part in a violent activity in which they are filmed. And this becomes a mode of creating a debt. They could kill somebody, be part of that in a rival gang. So many things like this could be happening. So don't take it lightly in any way. So avoid leaving your children home alone without supervision. Be vigilant to what is going on around you and your children. Have regular contact with your children at their school. Be there. Be a presence. What's going on? How is it going on? And know who your children's friends are. I knew a time when I was much younger, you couldn't have a friend without your parents knowing. So what does his mother do? What does his father do? How old is he? Where is he going? And it just goes on. I don't know if you ever talk to your parents, like, get your parents asking you those kind of questions. But I remember a time that my parents did, or maybe it's just a time. Don't take things for granted. Be close to your children so that they can confide in you when going through difficulties. Because your children will have the things that we went through as children are different to what our children are going through now. There's literally a war out there. I don't know if any of you saw a picture of a young boy who was stopped by police. And when they stopped him and ransacked him, he had a knife this long. Can you see my two hands? It was at least 2 feet long, which basically slotted into his trouser leg. And so, when they're hop skipping like that, you think it's style. But I realize now it's because of what they're carrying. They've got to move like that or else they'll cut themselves. There's no bending of your knee. Again, it sounds funny, but can you imagine? You've got a 2 foot thing, your little boy of no more than 5 feet, and you have a 2 foot, I don't even know if your thigh is 2 foot long. So you can just imagine. Okay. Minister Isaiah, enjoy yourself there. Okay. Be close to your children so that they can confide in you, so that it doesn't matter. Ensure that you've said to your children from the beginning, this house is a safe house. This, when you come here and you need to say something, please be free to say it. I will not promise to not be angry, but I will listen to you. Make your children feel that they can listen to you, that they can participate in a good conversation with you where they can actually open their minds, so then they don't get into trouble outside and then they can't speak. And then it's outside that is dealing with them. Or else one day the police will knock on your door and ask for Mr. So-so, and they're referring to your child. And basically what they're saying is that he's the latest drug baron in your locality. And you're like, my little Johnny, this boy that's very polite at home, very this, very that, but you don't know him. Be mindful if you see your children with new expensive items that you haven't bought for them. And if you suspect anything is wrong, act on it. The earlier you seek help, the better. And you can contact Afruka for any support and signposting. The other thing next is any questions on that? I'm happy to take questions. Any question, no matter how small, ask the question.
May I just add?
Temi, yes?
All right, yes. So as part of the things that we talk about in County Lines, these people, this gang, once or should they have access to your children, they could have access to your family, which then they can nest in, and then that's where the term for cuckooing comes from. And this is part Absolutely. Of the things we do in our sessions on Saturday. So if they basically get their eyes fixed on your family, especially if they know that you're migrants, or for whatever reason, maybe your visa is expiring or anything like that, that will give them a leverage over you and your children, and you wouldn't even be able to say anything to the police. So it is very important it's imperative that you know how to safeguard and protect them from falling into these hands in the first place, because the chicken shop story, it might look so simple. It might look like, well, why does my child need to go to but it is very, very possible, because when they go out with their friends, they go to these places, they hang out after school. You don't know what they're doing after school. And then you've not given them that money. Somebody else has offered them that. Then they become indebted to them, and then they take over your family. They can use your family home to keep drugs. They can use your family home for trafficking and other stuff, which might then even blow up and get in your face. So it is a serious matter. It's not, it might sound very literal, but it is quite serious and quite intense, because when they take over your family, you won't be able to say anything, not even to the police. You won't have that courage because you'll be scared of a lot of things. You're standing, legally, your children, the services, and a lot of things are just involved in that aspect of, cooking and county lines. And then there have been stories whereby should a child join a gang, the other gang members from another section are they're fixated on that child. They're watching every movement. They're watching every step and all that. And in Birmingham, there used to be 2 separate gangs long time ago, whereby they fired shots at each other and, they killed a lot of people, even innocent people just passing by, got shot and, all for what? Just, county line problems, drugs and trafficking and all that. And that's why it is important for us as parents to identify this, to take charge. And you might sound very very stern and very firm to your children, but you need to know why you're doing it, and you need to make them understand why. Because sometimes just being stern alone is not enough. You've got to explain to them, to say, listen, if you do this, then these are the repercussions. For example, the example of the one carrying a big machete, in his trousers. Now, they may argue that they're trying to protect themselves from other people because somebody might come up with them, to them with a fork or a knife, or then they will be able to defend themselves. But you need to have the right teaching and, the right foundation for them to say, listen, you don't defend yourself with, by committing a crime, because when you get caught, it won't be about the other person trying to attack you. It will be about you holding that machete, which can then become, a bigger problem. I'm sorry about that, Mr. Kanu.
That's fine. Temitile, thank you very much.
Yeah, 1 minute.
I have a question. Sorry?
Yeah, Isaiah, let's take it. So, I think we would have to take a pause here.
Okay.
And we are not going to consume any other thing now, because this sounds very interesting for me, and I want us to dwell on it.
Okay.
I want to assure you that by God's grace, God has given us this community, and we have more time to discuss with ourselves. So we don't need to rush anything. This is interesting. And I want to come in here. For me, when I was coming to Middlesbrough, this was exactly the dimension of what the Holy Spirit put in my spirit about children being taken. This was a dimension it took, because it was a problem for it's something we can relate with from Nigeria itself, and a lot of children have gone into that, and their parents don't know. Here is going to get more advanced, just like Madam Ekanem has told us, and Temitile has also reiterated. So I want to encourage my people to please take this very serious, and don't think that it cannot happen. Don't think that we are in a country where everything is good. Don't think that we're in a country where everything is safe and fine. So I would just want to add my voice to this so that we can now listen again to Ekanem to stress this the more. Then we ask questions that we end it for today. But let me make it very clear to you again. I told you, in this country, I parked my car outside. 9 a.m., I went to help a family. I went upstairs, TS12EE number 456. I went upstairs into whatever you call this room, the pent room there, or I've forgotten the name you call it. And to come down by 11 o'clock, my car was gone. That means there's a gang doing this. Please, are we all following? And I think I would always appreciate to have more people come on video, and let's discuss this very well. Because, so when I came in, I met a colleague here, is on set here, who was deep into the social service collecting children. And I appreciate his effort of what he showed me about that. So that became a concern as well. Social service workers collecting children. unlawfully or not justified for it, and we dealt with it, and we bless God that today it has reduced drastically in Middlesbrough. Now, I have noticed the trend of young children vaping. That's where I'm going to.
And you know, the reason why they're vaping is because they're under the illusion that it is better than smoking.
Thank you.
However,
so I'm going to submit this to you now, Ekanem, to go there. So I don't know. I want to just link this thing up with my people from what we felt in Nigeria to what's going on here that we might not be careful of, and that is already brooding over our children, and we are not watching.
Yeah.
So for all of us already having the 11 years old, the 12, the 13, the 14, the 15, we have serious work in our hand to be careful of, not assuming that all is well. I wanted to know that if you had a 40% gang you were scared of in Nigeria, that you don't want your child to join, I am telling you here that you now have a 90% gang here in this country. So I want to clear this into my people so that I want them to dwell on this, and please, those counter lines, don't rush it to those counter lines, those chicken shops and everything. Please stress it very, very well and let's know, because you start noticing that your children wants to stay in school for one club or the other that you have not authorized. That is what I first noticed, man. One club you have not authorized, and you just said that I want to do swimming, I want to do this, I want to do, Esther Honora is already commenting on that. Now, the moment you begin to hear this club that you did not authorize, that they're just bringing up, some things are welling up, some level of friendship is starting. And who are those friends that want to make your child be in the PE club, in the dance club? Some of them are very energetic, but we need to watch it from there. Secondly, again, we have seen our guys there going to, yes, children about year 5 talking about vaping in class. Yes, they would help us more on this one. Now, our children are in the pressure of, this is another one, in grooming that I've noticed, Ekanem and Temitayo and Kayode Adedigba. Kayode Adedigba is on the call now, Ekanem, so your champion is here. Now, I love the way you brought them trying to enslave the children, the chicken shop, through giving them letters. But I've seen another one that I want people to notice. Our children are being, English is not coming to me because I'm not preaching. Our children are being, is it racialized, or what do you call it now, in their school? Now, a lot of the colored children come around there, please follow me, and they make our children feel that you are black, you're monkey, you are that. Now, our children now get withdrawn from a lot of them, that because they are coming up with a racist act to them. But do you know what I discovered, my people? The ones that are not showing the hands of friendship, this is where I'm going, are now the gay, the bisexual, and the transgender. Now watch what has happened. Your child is losing friends because they are trying to attack him or her that is black, the racist act. The child is getting withdrawn. Now, part of them will now show friendship. Who are not the people showing friendship? Who are not the people showing friendship? The ones that are already gay. I'm talking about 2-3 cases I'm handling in church already. Yeah, no, you are muted if you want to take it up from there. So how do we...
Pastor Femi, I would like to take it up from there.
Yeah, I hand it over.
To a certain extent, what you're saying is rather generic. You understand? And I think that shouldn't happen here. Because what you're saying is that just because the child is getting some racism, so he's now getting friendship from a certain group of people. That is not necessarily true. Let me turn it around a little bit. You as the parent, and I'm taking all of us here, have a very important role in the life of every single one of our children. A child will not seek food outside, either in a shop, a dustbin. He will not steal if he's not receiving food in his house, if he's receiving food in his house, rather. If you are giving that child an environment that has everything it needs, basically, he will not stray outside to look for either necessarily friendship, parenting, food, services, clothing. He will not. I take myself as an example. When I came into this country when it was far more racist than what you're seeing right here now, because the racism then was underhand and blatant, so blatant that we had programs that were clearly racist. They would never show those programs today on national TV because they were overtly racist. We even laughed about it and accepted it as, oh, that's what happens. Try it now, and the BBC would be shut down, literally, because it's classed as wrong. They don't even show it on some of these Sky Gold, where they show old time programs because they are so offensive. However, we didn't really fight for our rights in that respect, and we let it roll off our back like water on a duck's back. So what I'm saying is that it's important for us to build confidence, because that's what my parents built in me. I went to school armed. I went to school armed with an African name, Ekanem. There was no other name like Jennifer or Trudy or Jane. No, that's your name, that's your name. They massacred that name in school. Initially, it concerned me, and I would go home and tell my parents, oh, see what they've done to my name, see what they did. They're always, even the teachers did not pronounce my name properly. I would sit there when a new teacher came in to say the register, and I would be waiting for her to reach my name, because I knew that she would say everybody's name and then get to mine and stop, as if to say EKANEM was a foreign language. However, every vowel in there, she could have pronounced if she cared to, when she can say the name Tchaikovsky, but she couldn't say Ekanem. Which one is more difficult? But that's what we bore. But you see, I had a father who made me feel very important.
Come on, say it again.
He made me proud of being Nigerian. He made me proud of having a name like that. He made me proud of my ancestry. He told me I was beautiful, valued my hair, said nobody should cut it, nobody should do anything to it. It's beautiful, and he likes it. He confirmed me. He affirmed me. And I'm saying to everybody here, strengthen your children, give them the confidence that they need to face the world out there. The world out there is slightly different now, I am sure, to what we had then, but the dynamics are much the same. It's still them against you in one format or the other. So it's not a case of one sector of the people are hating you, and then another one are picking you up because you're vulnerable. Why should you be vulnerable? Make your children strong so that they know the differences. In terms of the other thing, because I know that this is slowly leading to the question that you put out earlier on.
Yeah, though I don't want it. Though we're going to end up with that, but I just need to put that, because I have like 2-3 cases in church where the teenagers have come to me and say, everybody's racist, and the one who are not racist now are those 2 girls who are this. Those 2 boys who are this, they are the ones that wants to be my
But
friend.
you know something? In the church where you all belong, you don't hate anybody. You don't have to follow anybody because you follow Christ.
That's right.
So if the people can be anything that they want to be, they can identify to be anything that they want to be, you love them the same way and you carry yourself and go your same way. You do not have to condemn them because it's not for you to judge. I'm not quoting anything but what is already in the word. God will deal with them. But you teach your children the right way.
Values and
you
whatever.
Teach them how to deal with it. And I think it was Shane who said, I think it was you, ma'am, if it wasn't her, I'm sorry. But when you first posed the question, she said, no comment. Teach your children to say no comment to anything that they are unsure of so that they don't put themselves into a vulnerable situation. I mean, it was yourself that said that.
It was Sion that said that.
Sion, okay.
Yeah, that said that. So can I please take us back to the county lines? And this is very, very important. What is happening
the thing is that
chicken shop?
I have two of my champions here, Kayode and Temitayo, yes. And if you listened to what Temitayo said, she filled in the gaps. I was rushing through because I was trying to get to the next point, but she actually filled in the points.
Yeah, and I've said that Ekanem, please, Ekanem, Tayo, and Kayode, no need to rush here. We have a lot we have a lot to learn. We have a lot to glean from you people and other organizations that we are working with. And I think
the thing to know is that every day a new thing is arising.
Mm-hmm.
So we may say to you, they're using chicken shop this time around. Then you'll find that, they've changed their style now. They're now inside the school through the friends that your children are keeping. Because you see, the thing is that if you haven't taught your child to be strong and know himself, this is why, when we are at home, we tend to get our children to be very respectful. We shut down on them. We slam them down for everything. We don't allow them to have an opinion or to express it so that we can change it or we can guide them. What happens then is that they go outside, and if any of their friends happen to be stronger than they are, even if they're all 11 years old or all 12 years old, and one decides to be a bully, they can't fight. Because in the house, you have been their first bully. Does that make sense? Shane, I see you smiling.
Yeah.
You get my point. Minister Isaiah, you get my point. You are bullying your own children in the house. So when they go outside, they don't necessarily become the bully. They receive another set of bullying from somebody else, and then they act upon that. Have you considered that in the way that we're bringing up some of our children? We don't give them an opportunity to speak, defend themselves, ask their question. That's why I was saying to you last week that there is a cultural shift that we need to make. In Nigeria, everything is taught by rote learning. Is that right? I forgot the word. And basically, you just learn this and regurgitate it on the tape, on the paper. In this country, you learn, but it's question and answer. It's almost by counterintuitive. You come and you show what you know, and then they can correct it or add to it. Not just reading it once or just learning it so that you can copy it down. If you ask a lecturer in Nigeria why he thinks that this is the right answer and that you think it is wrong, he will ban you from his class almost. Because he will wonder why you're contesting his awesome opinion. Whereas in this country, you tell a teacher that, you don't think his view is right, that it should be this, because maybe you've done some other reading. He'll be pleased to hear that you've even taken an interest in his subject to go and do further reading. He will take an interest in you. He will bring you closer to say, okay, have you tried reading this book here and this book here, and challenge you to do better, to do more. This is how we should be running our homes. Because you're sending your children to learn, be able to express their opinions and be taught something more, or to broaden it. Maybe they will be the next Einstein because somebody kicked a ball into their court that they now knew. So hold on a minute. Perhaps we can do it this way. Perhaps we can do it that way. Why are you killing that fervor in your child? Why are you keeping them in the old ways of doing something? If we stayed with the old ways, we'll still be only using pen and paper. We wouldn't be being able to see ourselves with this computer right now. Isn't that so?
That's right.
So all I'm saying to you is that take the opportunities. I mean, one of the questions we didn't quite deal with that day when I was there was the opportunities. It was the last one. I'm trying to remember. How did you express it, sir?
Understanding opportunities,
careers.
Privileges, and boundaries.
There you go.
Yeah.
There are so many opportunities here. Hi, Honora.
As my son joining there. Oh, okay. Yeah, do you mind we taking questions, because we have just like 15 minutes more.
I've been waiting for them.
So let me facilitate that. Can we have questions?
There's some things in your chat.
Yeah, I can see that now. Minister Isaiah.
Children in year 5 talking about vaping in class. These issues are real. As Christians, we should stop hiding our head under the sand like the proverbial ostrich and praying it is not my portion. Absolutely. Whoever wrote that, I agree with you.
But there are some things they want.
The children are vaping. Let's get real here. We are, as people, inquisitive. We want to explore. That is how we learn. Now, your children are growing up in a new environment. They're having to contend with a lot of things. They cannot stay 5 until they're 25. Am I wrong or right? In fact, you'll be disturbed if your child was still behaving like a 5-year-old when they're 25. But you see, we want them to be like a 5-year-old when they're 25, but we want them to have all the sense. It's not going to happen. They are going to go through emotions and feelings. My favorite person, Temitayo, is very good at talking about that subject, about the way in which children change and grow up. By the time they're 11, by the time they're 15, they're going through emotions. I beg, any of you who are adults and have had children, do you not remember? Have you forgotten how you may have felt? And you're going through changes. I remember when I was about 12, 13, I was obnoxious. Myself and my mother were always butting heads. I couldn't tell you why. But the challenge was probably because we were all premenstrual or whatever the thing is called. I didn't even understand that was what was happening. I remember when my mother was now an older woman and she was now going into her, latter years. And she was going crazy. I didn't know what was happening. She didn't know what was happening. But we both contended with this. And it ended up in arguments and disruption in the home because we were ill prepared. And what I'm saying is stop, as the person who wrote this said, stop hiding behind that, putting your head in the sand. Talk to your children. Understand what is happening. If you talk about sex, it doesn't mean you're going to have sex. At the appropriate time to talk about it so that they're aware of their feelings, their emotions, and nobody can take advantage of them. If you talk to them about county lines and local, this is what is happening. When it's happening in front of them, they can see the signs. The only way to defend yourself against this environment is to allow your children to have the information they need to survive. It's a war.
I think I like it, one of the way you said it with your father. You said, my father armed me. I love that language. Armed me, equipped me. That was the language you used. I love it so much. Equip your children is what Ekanem is saying. Equip them, give them every information. Give them every information. We were shocked. We're trying to do little of sex education in Nigeria and just trying to keep it from our children. And when my 10-year-old came back and said that they've been asking the question, where do babies come from? Where do babies come from? Where do babies come from? We didn't give the right answer until he came and told us, now I know where babies come from. My wife said it live in that program. Because me and my wife, we are that pastor that we show our vulnerability to people. We don't act perfect. So we didn't get it right in that place. Till if my son was 10, that means my daughter was 11. We did the quick one. Amen.
Amen.
So, and we quickly have to sit down and explain all these things to them. Equip your children. Okay, let's see if we have any other question from anybody. Is anybody willing to ask a question here? We are running by 9:30.
I think somebody says here, let's go back to the basic unit of society, the family, and continue to instill the values we hold dear into our family in Africa. It takes a village to raise a child, so let's come back and continue. Absolutely. But, that village life has kind of gone. And we now have to look at it in the context of the town life, because when your child gets fed up of the village, he's coming to the town. Equip him. You know how when somebody leaves the village and comes into the town, you can see that person is JJC because they're walking around with their eyes open like this and everything is aga. Let's not leave that children that vulnerable. It's like when I arrived in Nigeria for the first time when I was about 11, everything was amazing. Everything. So I was JJC. Let's not raise any more JJCs.
May I just quickly add another point? And another thing that I feel might be wrong with the idea of let's raise our child in a setting whereby we're instilling the old, values, or we're trying to use a village. Yeah, it is. It's quite encouraging to have the old village, disciplining the child to bring out the best in a child. When you have that atmosphere, then that's where you thrive in. But when you're in another setting entirely, everyone knows this, saying that says, when you're in Rome, you behave like the Romans. I mean, it will be completely and utterly strange to you if you just went to China and you see people eating cockroaches. But then it's normal to them, completely normal. It's delicious, it's their delicacy, right? So when you bring your culture, when you bring your tradition and all that, which you hold dear, and you decide to practice it exactly the way you practice it back in Nigeria, that it becomes a challenge. Then you start, having some kind of headbutts with the local authorities here, with the people in your community. Maybe your neighbors will start phoning up to report you. Because they find your way of living maybe, barbaric, maybe, completely unacceptable in the society. That's where we strive to have a balance between our cultural practices, our values that we hold, and the environment in which we blend with, in which we live in, because you can't just, hold on to one and then just ignore the other. There's no way you're going to be able to survive in that kind of society. So when they come and then they tell you new things, they show you the modern way, then they say to you, or they read the Acts 2004 to you saying, listen, physical chastisement has been modernized, or saying, okay, when you do this, or they say reasonable, form of chastisement and all that. And you're like, no, in Africa, in Nigeria, it's big that and you're having that kind of feistiness to you, then you're going to be in a situation where you don't want to be in. So maybe practicing things that are around us, in our community that benefits even our neighbors, while still in what's the language again? While still inculcating the values into our children. Like, okay, we are Christians, do not take something that doesn't belong to you. Don't bring that to the house. When you bring something that's not yours, you return it, while still showing those moral values, physical values and mental values. We build resilience in our children. We show them that, yes, they can stand confident in the society despite the difference.
I think you're right, Temitayo, because one of the things that you should really do is...
Mommy, are you on mute? Can I speak with support of what I think the Temitayo probably, I don't know, but I think she probably is listening.
I don't know whether she's still talking.
Okay, let's get this coordinated. We have SC Honoros and Ob, and I think she has a strong point too. SC Honoro, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Pastor. Thank you, Madam Ekanem. It's such a delight to hear you speak with such beautiful diction again. Anyway, I digress. Temitayo's response to Sayon's question, I don't think is entirely correct. What Sayon meant by that statement was, in terms of it takes a village to raise a child, is about getting ourselves into a community like what we are doing now.
I'm not hearing you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, maybe you need to, if you are hearing...
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. I said, no, continue. It takes a village to raise a child.
I was saying that Temitayo's response to Sayon's statement, it was not entirely the way Sayon put it. What Sayon meant was by saying let's go back to the basics, takes community called a village to raise a child. It wasn't like going back to the barbaric way, literally. It was about building these communities, right? Like what Pastor Femi is organizing right now. In fact, what he's doing, I will not fail to shout it from the mountaintop. It is super. I came into this place knowing nobody but God and him. And he literally has helped me settle in. I mean, imagine someone coming from nowhere, from where you know nobody and anything, and then he's giving you a community that helps you. Stop that, I'm talking. That helps you literally filling in all the stops, filling in all the gaps, every single step of the way. Somebody's holding your hand all through. I see something about the Asians and the way they are very communal, even among our settings where we live and even in school. That is what Sayon is referring to. Let's have that community. Imagine me telling him, oh, I'm having a challenge with my daughter or my son. Okay, let's talk to Ekanem about it, or let's talk to Mr. Kayode about it. And then we are putting our heads together and striving to help ourselves grow so that we don't fall into those things, right, that are catching up with a lot of people who are uninformed. We can't stay uninformed forever. We need to be the ones that are different.
Can I just jump in there very quickly? This is a video, and it is going out worldwide. You have your children in the background. Please ask them to stand to one side or sit in front of you so that the camera does not catch them. It's part of safeguarding them as well. So could you do that? Or you blur your background. We're using the camera, blur it so that we don't see. Or you can actually switch off if your children are too there. It's just to protect them.
Thank you very much.
And that's for everybody.
So because our time is up for today,
please go ahead. You were talking.
But let's just put what she said into clear context. Thank you, SC Honoro. That Sayon was only saying, let's bring the culture of it takes a village to raise a child, that we should continue this community effort because it took this community. I don't know Ekanem from anywhere. I think the last time I saw her was in the spirit while we were still in heaven before I saw her on planet Earth. Ekanem, can you hear me? So, but it took my relationship with Kayode community, the village here now, to get connected to a very resourceful person like you. And let me shout it out. And that brought Temitayo. Ekanem, can you see that? That brought Temitayo. Who is Temitayo? Temitayo is a lot of Futarians that are here. Temitayo is sounding there is also a Futarian. Part of us. A Futarian. He's been on Futa Radio. One of the students we that we did things together on Futa Radio. Very wonderful lady and very, very knowledgeable. Thank you, Temitayo. So Tanya is saying that we come together and raise our children together. I want to take this session to an end. I'll give Madam Ekanem another 3 minutes to give us a round of statements. And I'll give another 3 minutes to 3 people to tell us what you are taking home in this session. We will be back next week, Wednesday, for another session. And I will discuss with our champion, Kayode Adedigba, and Ekanem to look at what do you want us to, a lot of things to look at. One of the things I'm doing now is that I want to take us a little bit away from the take children, social service take children that we have been on. We've heard that and we've learned from it. There are other things that want to take our children. And thank you, Ekanem, for bringing us into this. I've not heard this chicken shop before. When you say chicken shop, is I want to go and buy chicken. Chicken, that's what I know. I never knew that chicken shop can be using chicken money to take my child away. Thank you for that one. I've not had this counter line before. So we also need this as well. So let us hear other things that we need to also learn. But most importantly, can I please spare me my own 2 minutes of roundoff? Most importantly is that after learning like this, we pray every Thursday morning. We pray every Thursday morning. This is being put together by the welfare arm of the church that's come up with something called Transformation Space. So every Thursday morning we pray. And I am using this means to announce to everybody again that tomorrow by 6:30 a.m., remember that we are praying and God is working. Our adversary, the devil, is going to and fro, looking for whom to devour. It will not be your own children. It will not be your own child. It will not be your own husband. It will not be your own wife. The Bible tells me the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth in and is safe. So my job here, after creating a session like this, is to say, let us pray again, that the evil plans of the enemy around this country would not enter your own house, will not carry you. But as we pray, we must think. As we think, we must act. That is why I am not just a praying pastor. I'm a thinking pastor and I'm a doing pastor. And that is what our church stands for. Our spirit receive, our mind conceive, and our hands perform. So after learning, we pray. After praying, we do. I take that again. After learning, we pray. After praying, we do. And what you need to do to get it right is what Africa, through our own man in the house, Kayode Adedigba, through our great champion that came to us, Ekanem, and through Temitayo, is teaching us today. And all of us also are putting minds together and learning together. Ekanem, you have the next 3 minutes to put a final word to today. Then I'll take reflection from 3 people. Then please tell us what should we look forward to again in the future class. Okay, I think we lost Ekanem now, and I could quickly take my reflections till she's back. So let's take 3. One point. In 30 seconds or 1 second, put up your video. What did you learn today? How did today's session affect you? What is new that you learned? Are you happy with this session? Do you want it to continue? What is your take home for today? Who wants to talk first? I think I want this beautiful girl called Enchanted to talk.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate Madam Ekanem for a wonderful evening talk.
You have got 30 seconds, 1 minute. Please brush it up.
County line was it for me. I didn't believe that it had gotten to a stage where children are now being used for drugs, and only God knows how much of the buying, how much of the trading that has gone around. And I think all I can just say is parents need to be on the watch. and whatever that needs to be improved to get our children talking to us, to get our children loving the house more than any other thing on the street, so that all of this meanness will not come near us and will not come near the children. I want the program to go on. This is the community that we talk about, and we can only learn more when we have things like this every week or every fortnight as the program goes on. Thank you very much.
Okay, the program will continue, but it will take somebody away for you for some few hours. Yeah, it is well with you. Yes, Sanya, you want to talk? Yeah.
Okay, I'm so glad that I didn't miss this session as usual. And for me, as an educationist, I'm on my toes right now. And I want to suggest that, like I said, I'm glad Essay explained what I meant by community. For me, I would say the next line is to come up with a strategy. These things we are learning, how can we communicate it to our children immediately? So the values we are talking about, they start learning it from now. So for me, it's for us to come up with a strategy and start telling them about these things, for us to go to the internet and check about these abbreviations that they used to communicate with them, and tell them, not because we don't want them to know, so that when other people are having these conversations around them, they know that it is wrong. It is not their duty to tell them it is right or wrong, but within them, it just strengthens their resolve not to involve themselves in what those people are doing. And so they don't feel isolated. There's a community, there are other children that they can talk to. If they are bored, they can chat with and talk about edifying things, so that nobody would come and use them as a scapegoat. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So every parent, if you're on this call, get talking to your children, get orientating them, get to make them being able to talk to you, like Tikeke said, and also Sanyo said. Let's bring up strategies and let's start reaching out to our children. You've heard things that can happen in this country and that is going on in this country already. Can I take one more comment from anybody willing to share? Let me see who is willing to share. What is your take home for today? I have not heard Kayode Adedigba, over to you. This is all about the good thing you brought to us in the church. We really appreciate you for this. Kayode Adedigba, can we hear your voice and see your face? Where is this champion today? Hope he's not talking to India. Always. Yeah, Essay, you can take the floor and say, don't write. Just say it. Say whatever you want to say and tell us your take home. I know you will thank Pastor Itanga, but what's your take home for today?
Wow. The aha moment for me, right?
Yeah.
Is the fact that I always knew about the drug issue in Middlesbrough, because it's part of what I'm learning in class. Part of my courses, there's a serious drug issue in this town.
We didn't know.
No, there's a module I'm doing that we're talking about the police and the drug high crime rates as a result of drugs. But I didn't realize that children were now being coerced into being carriers or agents of drug trafficking and transportation. Drug abuse is serious. It's a serious issue. And I have a personal story with a family member who has lost 10 years because of drug abuse. So it's a very personal matter to me. So I am at this point resolving more than ever before to not just pray, but like I said, discuss and talk to the children about these things. Tell them that these things are there. One of the things I always knew was I don't pretend like they are not there. So using the most age-appropriate language as possible, I talk to the children. These things, you will see them, you will hear them, right? But you remember whose you are and who you carry. That was part of what we were talking about in Bible study this morning. Never fail to let the children know that they are different. Those things may be taught, may be said in class, but you are not of them. You don't need to correct them. Just take your stand and take your stand that this is who you are and you can't change. So that's it. Like she said, affirm the children, make sure, let them know that they are special. Black is beautiful. Why not second class?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Temitayo, I cannot get Ekanem back. So,
Yeah.
and I can't get Kayode too. But I really want Kayode to. Oh, Ekanem is back.
Oh, there she
Ekanem is
is.
back. Yeah, Ekanem. Yeah, I'm still safeguarding.
You see why it
I'm
doesn't
still
matter
safeguarding.
how old you are. You must start to be careful, to be advanced in using technology. So I tried my two computers, they let me down, so I'm on the phone now.
Oh,
So,
beautiful. And I'm still safeguarding your slot. I'm safeguarding your slot. Nothing is happening. Temitayo was
carried beautifully.
Temitayo was almost taking it, but I've safeguarded it correctly.
She could have done it even better than me.
Oh,
This is what we call training. You see, when you, like yourself, Pastor, every one of your parishioners should have the anointing that you have, so that even if you're not there, you are confident that the word that you have ministered into their lives, they can speak exactly as you would have spoken. So
Minister Isaiah, preach.
But it's true. It's true. What I wanted to do.
Yeah, just give us your 3 minutes final statement and we close.
My own last word today was to say, let us look at what triggers abuse. Because and it ties in even with the county lines that I talked about today. Because you need to know the root for anything that's happening in your house. What is the root? And very often family pressures, sometimes poverty, frustration, unemployment, underemployment, housing, lack of housing, that is, not good housing or not well-kept home. You know how very often the state of your house is the state of your mind. State of your room is the state of your mind. Your health, immigration, drugs, alcohol, domestic violence or domestic abuse, all these reasons trigger forms of abuse. Drugs is an abuse of the body and the mind. Alcohol, the same thing too. Everything in moderation is what the word says to those of you who believe. Then we have sometimes the misinterpretation of the scriptures. This spare the rod and spoil the child. Sometimes we don't understand what that means really. When we're balancing two cultures, which one do we take? And when we talk about cultures, I'm not just talking about how things were in Nigeria and how things are here. Two cultures could be your religion as opposed to what's happening in the country. How do you balance it so that you use wisdom to survive? Because it's not every situation that needs you to be a sacrificial lamb. Consider that God needs you alive for a bigger thing, not just for the little war you want to fight here, but the bigger one, So consider that. Is it worth destroying a situation here because of one point where maybe you can, sidestep it because there are so many traps being set for you to fall into? Are you ready? The wisdom is seeing it before it happens and knowing how to go around it in order to achieve the bigger goal. Be mindful. Access to your children in the family by questionable people. This is not just in sexual abuse, child sexual abuse. This could be in the grooming aspect, which I was talking about in the county lines. It could be in, the schools. Who's accessing your children? Including children. Don't disregard your children. They are small adults rising.
They're the ones that will help you in the future. If you don't put into them what they need, they will run away from you when they should be coming closer to you. Don't be lackadaisical in your attitude, in the way you bring up your children. And don't be malicious and wicked. Your children will remember.
Oh my God! Can I just
Gabriel mute himself, please?
And I think I would also want to say, Ekanem, you are pointing out a lot, too much to say, and I think I want to plead that I don't want these things rushed. We are here, and we have a lot to learn.
You said you gave me 3 minutes to just encapsulate this evening.
Yeah, so to even encapsulate what you have taught, not even these new ones. This is new, beautiful.
This is not new.
Okay.
I am just rounding it together. It can be, it will always keep arising all the time. Everything is joined up thinking. And you see, we tend to put things into categories. They join together. The word, our lives, the way we relate, it's all part of one thing. Ignorance of the laws and parenting skills. Learn them, know them. You can never say in England, I didn't know.
Oh yeah.
It will not help you in court because we presume that you know, because nothing is hidden. It's in Google. It is on the walls in some companies when you walk in, everywhere. And if you don't know, ask. Don't be like your culture and not ask.
Take.
Absence of support for ethnic minority people. I think you may have to mute him yourself, Pastor. Thank you. Okay. And then absence of support by an ethnic minority group. I don't think that anyone in this group hasn't got support in you, if not in their fellow people, because you're all sharing the same issues. And so it is necessary for you to not be afraid to ask the next question. Don't be afraid to ask a question and constantly renew your spirit, renew yourself by reading, by asking, by searching. In the way you search the word for your life, search Google for information always. And every question has an answer. Somebody knows it. Find that person. That's all I can say for now.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ekanem. I cannot thank you enough for making yourself available ever since we've met. This is not my learning from you is not even today. I still learned in the morning. I learned yesterday. I learned 2 days ago. I learned from a lot. She's a wealth of knowledge that she wants to share with us. And we have a lot of topics. And I would ask you, I will take this to Temitayo, since you guys share the same thoughts and curriculum with us. Temitayo, what should we expect again at another session? What should our people expect to learn from Africa again? And tell us when you guys have your meetings and when my people can join.
I think we have a meeting this very Saturday, actually. Okay. Temitayo, isn't it you taking it this week?
I think she's gone.
Has she? Well, Temitayo...
But she's there. She's there.
Ah, good. Temitayo.
Well, you take it if she's not there. She's not talking.
Yeah, she's actually giving a presentation this week. I think she's doing 4 tips for bringing up children in this country. 4 challenges and their solutions. That's what she's doing this week.
Yeah.
On Saturday, 5:30 through to 7. I will send you the link, Pastor, and put it in the other 4 if I have your permission to do so.
Oh, you have our permission, but if you want to make it simple, just send it to Isaiah. Send it to
not sure I have his telephone.
Okay, but you can send it to the groups. You can send it to the groups.
Yeah. Okay.
Yourself and people.
So you're welcome to join
us.
us.
This again?
Feel free to join us at that time, and we can go over the aspect of, tips about bringing up children and the challenges. Yeah, and we'll next 2 weeks we'll do another 4 and just keep on like that. Okay. And if there are any issues you would like us to talk about, please let me know.
Yeah, as we get ready to sign off, Mr. Kayode Adedigba, are you there now? And you just want to say a word?
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, our champion is here.
Yeah.
I know. I'll be saying that, brother.
Okay, all I can just say is that to the learning to learning generally, there is no end. The day we stop learning is the day we start dying. That's a popular saying. So as much as we can, I think the opportunity has come for us to learn, and it's always important for us to learn. Kanem will always say something when we have our sections. There is no one top book for parenting. So, and of course, Pastor has also said one thing or the other is that most of us are accidental parents, or incidental parents, as you may call it. But as the case is, if one can teach you all, and all can teach one, what a better society we would have to ourselves. This is the BAME community. Before for us to stop the menace of we having our children in care and all the incidences that come with it. I'm sure you have heard that the percentage of children from Black societies is higher than the average number of children percentage in care. And that's an alarming percentage. It will be a dream one day if we have 0%. And that is not impossible if the information and the knowledge is well spread across and people are able to use those knowledge and information to do the right things. And Africa is a good organization that is doing and championing a lot of things for the community. So let's continue to learn from each other and see how we can support each other. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kayode Adedigba, and thank you for bringing us into this relationship. We are so grateful. Once again, I'd say have every knowledge and don't have a spirit backing it up is dangerous. Let's meet tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. as we continue our prayer on what the supernatural can do for us in terms of bringing about child and entering into the divine miracles that God has got for us. Until we see again next Wednesday, my name remains Titila Femi Kings. The brand is TFK. I am the senior pastor, Christ Apostolic Church, Kingsland, the director, Transformation Space, United Kingdom, co-founder and director, Lead Transformation Initiative, Nigeria, and the handsome husband of Titila Femi Kings. I love that. I love that, babe. I love that. I tell you, I love that babe. She was that enchanted that spoke when this program was on. See how beautiful she is. Oh, long. She's just I just like the girl alone. I know Joko. I like the girl. I tell you. Thank you. If you want to close up, we can close. See, I'm just myself. I love to catch my phone. You see this anointing on my head there. And I know Kayode has one beautiful wife called Folasha Adedigba. Hey, you need to see that beautiful lady that God gave to Kayode. Very wonderful, beautiful lady like this. Then, Ese Honoro, I've seen her husband. This is handsome man like this that God gave to that Ese Honoro. Handsome man. As well. There's one issue we are going to discuss in the future. This one that you live in TS1, they are giving you school in TS8. We need to discuss it too. How do we solve it now? Maybe they say they have plenty school. How come I'll be living in TS1? They'll be giving me school in TS8. What will we go do now? One of us has hearing tomorrow. And before she go, she jump prayer, I pray for her. Because she wants the person they live for TS1. They give school for TS8 almost 25 minutes or 30 minutes bus, if not 1 hour bus to come to school. Wait, see, me when I see the only way I school for Agege, I know that, but now with the UK, we must be okay. And we will still discuss that one of these days. I remember myself teaching that for making. God bless you. In this UK, you go there okay. Whatever. Let's see. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye. I can thank you. I can